In a night that will be remembered as one of the biggest upsets in recent UFC history, Nassourdine Imavov scored a career-defining victory over former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya at UFC Fight Night in Saudi Arabia. The French-Moroccan contender showcased composure, technical brilliance, and a relentless pace to outpoint Adesanya over 5 hard-fought rounds, shaking up the middleweight division and placing himself firmly in the title conversation. The build-up. Coming into the fight, Adesanya was widely considered the heavy favorite. A 2-time UFC middleweight champion, the last style-bender had already cemented himself as one of the greatest strikers in the sport's history. Fans expected him to use his experience, precision, and reach advantage to neutralize the younger, less decorated Imavov. For Imavov, however, this bout was more than just another fight. It was an opportunity to prove he belonged among the elite. At just 28 years old, Imavov had shown flashes of brilliance in his UFC run but lacked a defining victory. Facing Adesanya on such a global stage presented the perfect chance to change that narrative. The fight. From the opening bell, Imavov made his intentions clear. Rather than standing at range and allowing Adesanya to dictate the rhythm with feints and leg kicks, the French fighter pushed forward aggressively, mixing sharp boxing combinations with well-timed calf kicks. His jab found its target repeatedly, snapping Adesanya's head back and forcing the former champion to stay on the defensive. Adesanya, known for his calculated striking and counterpunching, struggled to find his usual timing. Every time he attempted to settle into his rhythm, Imavov's pressure and unpredictability disrupted his flow. By the end of the first 2 rounds, it was evident that Imavov was not overwhelmed by the moment. The third round saw Adesanya attempt to rally. He landed several clean counters and a sharp head kick that briefly stunned Imavov. The Saudi Arabian crowd roared, sensing momentum shifting back to the former champion. But Imavov remained composed, weathered the storm, and responded with his own flurry of punches that pushed Adesanya to the fence. By the championship rounds, fatigue appeared to slow Adesanya, while Imavov's conditioning allowed him to maintain pace. The younger fighter's consistent output, body work, and ability to mix up his striking began to pay dividends. In the 5th round, Adesanya desperately tried to mount a comeback, but Imavov's crisp counterboxing and defensive awareness sealed the deal. The decision. After 5 competitive rounds, the judges delivered their verdict, a unanimous decision win for Nassourdine Imavov. The scorecards read 49-46, 48-47, and 49-46, reflecting Imavov's control throughout the majority of the fight. The victory sent shockwaves through the MMA world. Beating a fighter of Adesanya's caliber not only validated Imavov's place in the top echelon of the middleweight division, but also positioned him as a legitimate title contender. What this means for Imavov? This triumph represents the pinnacle of Imavov's career thus far. Often viewed as a dark horse in the division, he now has a signature win against one of the greatest middleweights of all time. His name will undoubtedly be mentioned in conversations for the next title shot, especially given the UFC's plans to expand further into the Middle Eastern market. Imavov's victory also highlights the growing presence of French MMA, with France producing contenders who are making significant waves on the global stage. His disciplined yet aggressive performance will inspire many up-and-coming fighters from the region. What's next for Adesanya? For Israel Adesanya, the loss raises questions about his future in the sport. Though still only 36, he has now suffered back-to-back defeats in high-profile bouts. While Adesanya remains one of the most gifted strikers to ever compete in the UFC, the gap between him and hungry new contenders like Imavov may be narrowing. A period of reassessment could be on the horizon. Some fans speculate that Adesanya may consider moving back to light heavyweight for fresh challenges, while others believe he should regroup and rebuild for another middleweight run. Regardless, his legacy as a 2-time champion and one of the UFC's most marketable stars remains intact. A historic night in Saudi Arabia. The UFC's debut fight night in Saudi Arabia was already significant, but Imavov's upset over Adesanya made the event historic. The electric atmosphere, combined with a shocking main event result, ensured that the card will be remembered for years to come. Nassourdine Imavov's victory was not just a personal triumph, it was a statement to the entire middleweight division. The era of new contenders has arrived.